with them about firing Ryan Day, though. I'm curious your guys' take on whether or not Day's on the hot seat.
I want to hear what Earl got to say about it.
Earl thinks it's time to move on.
Earl's way down there. Let's bring him over here real quick. Earl, you got to squeeze in here.
Earl the Pearl, speak your case.
Yeah, Earl, why are you so emphatic that he has to go?
Listen, you got one job, and your job is to win the game. I don't care about 45-5. And I understand that the playoffs is about to change in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
But if you don't beat Michigan, you don't win the Big Ten. If you don't win the Big Ten, your chances to go win a national championship, it diminishes tremendously. I seen Jim Tressel win a national title in his first 3 years. I seen Urban Meyer win a national title in his first 3 years.
Facts.
This is a guy that's 1-2 against Michigan in his first 3 years.
Now, he could still win a national title this year.
Yeah, but I don't think none of us truly believe that we can. The team is too cute.
I believe they can.
Like Jay, they all finesse. We're used to Ohio State teams that's tough. Tyvus played on an Ohio State team that had
Well, here's the thing. If they're the 4 and Michigan ends up the 2, and Michigan loses in their semifinal and Ohio State wins, which is what happened in 2006 when they won it.
Who won it?
By the way, Ohio State won the national championship.
That
was
not
2006, 14.
Oh, 14.
I'm sorry. They were the 4. So if Ohio State wins as the 4 against Georgia as the 1, and Michigan loses as the 2 to TCU as the 3, then Ohio State won't even have to get through Michigan again.
Yeah, that's true, but I don't think we can beat Georgia, personally. I think Georgia's the best team in the country. But guys, I'm looking at Ryan Day, and I'm looking at this whole situation. At first, I thought I was just in my feelings.
Yeah.
But it's been a couple of days.
And a lot of people are with you.
So we're going to fire him based on 2 games. So listen, during the college football season, most weeks I'm like, I'm not watching Ohio State because their games are meaningless.
Right.
And everybody's like, no, you got to watch it. You're not a real fan. Well, you are now agreeing, if you want to fire Ryan Day, that every game Ohio State plays until Michigan is completely meaningless.
Well, that's not.
That's what you're saying about Ryan Day.
That's true, but that's not. No, that's not all. That's not merited all the way. Because the thing is, give me that. Give me them Ryan Day stats again on the screen. What is his CFP record? 1-2.
1-2.
Okay.
Just the same record as
So if
Michigan.
he's 1-2 in the CFP,
It's only been 3 years. I understand
this.
Ohio State won early.
So that's
he's 2-4 in the biggest games.
The only one win is against Clemson. Like I said, Utah against the Rose Bowl, you should. Clemson in the CFP, that matters.
I get that his record in the meaningful games is not good at this point. It's only been 3 in years. It's not like he's 0-6. He's 2-4. If he doesn't turn it around, yeah, at some point you got to let him go. But to compare him to like John Cooper was there for how many years?
11.
I mean,
but
3 years we're going to fire him?
Here's the interesting thing. The fan base is so different.
I'm not saying fire
the fan base. The fan base at Ohio State is so entitled.
They're so arrogant.
It is arrogant.
I'm not saying fire Ryan Day because I don't think that's the problem. Is that it has to be a culture change. Like I say, to me, like it's a reason.
Ty, they geared everything they've done for the last 365 days.
But see, you missing the point.
It didn't work.
This is the point. The point I'm about to make is this. I played under Urban.
Right.
It's people around the country that hates Urban Meyer. Players hate Urban Meyer.
I understand that.
How many players you think hate Ryan Day?
Well, you mean his own players?
Yeah, his own players.
No,
his own players.
That has been an issue.
How many people respect? How many people respect Urban Meyer? Wouldn't say nothing crazy.
No, you're right.
So you got to go in there day one, and you got to lay the law down, and everybody has to fall in line with what you're doing. If I go in there,
he couldn't do that in the NFL.
If I go in there and say, "Hey, we cool, buddy, like." All right, I'm gonna test you a little bit. Nah, my leash is a little long.
So those that observe the program and have been around it for a long time say exactly what Tyvus is saying.
I'll tell you, I walked
in the room. There was a fear factor.
When
Ryan walks in the room, it's our buddy.
So you need Ryan Day to be a dick, is what you're saying?
Yes. When Urban was there, the Woody Hayes facility, you're miserable. You don't want to go.
Nick Saban's the same way.
I'm trying to get up out of here. Everybody walking around on eggshells when Urban there. Ryan Day walked in there. I went in there to visit all the old coaches. Everybody smiling and whatnot, having a good time. I'm like, what is this?
I got a perfect. But Harbaugh's not a jerk, is he?
Yes.
Oh, yes, he is. His players hated him.
I got a perfect example for this.
First,
Bill Belichick,
spring break.
Nick Saban, Jim. None of that. You think they players love them like that?
There's a perfect scenario of why people underestimate how quickly you get fired. Now, sports does a really good job of making you think it's about sports and not business. All sports is,
true.
all sports is a business that they can print money.
Yep.
They print it. So when you look at it, and he talks about this, one study suggests that in the past 2 years, 52% of now CEO departures of companies for 300 index likely were a result of executives being shown the door for lack of improvement or revenue. Now, when you look, this from CNN. So when you looking at it like this and you playing in a Fortune 500 level, right? It's not rare that you would see a CEO get hired in 1 year and be gone in a year and a half.
Because when there's money at stake, this is what we've talked about with the Browns. When you've come to the realization that it's the wrong fit, you don't twiddle your thumbs for another year or two to make sure that it's the wrong fit. When you think and you know this isn't the right fit, you move. That's the way the business world works because there's money on the line.
But that's the thing is, like.
Well, Jay, you said you didn't want him fired. Do you want him fired?
And I don't.
I don't want him fired.
But I'm arguing both sides of this because I understand the argument from the fans that do. Number one, Robert touched on this. If the Buckeyes could get Mike Vrabel, I would do it in a heartbeat and I would never look back. Mike Vrabel will bring that fear back to the Woody Hayes facility.
Absolutely.
Mike Vrabel, I was working in the media. I covered all of Mike Vrabel's 4 years at Ohio State. I've told this story on the show before. They brought a 5-star running back in from Illinois. He was supposed to be the next Eddie George. He was loafing it in a running drill, in a gasser drill, essentially. Mm-hmm. Mike Vrabel almost ripped his head off. Not because he was gassing it, but because when Vrabel got on his ass, this freshman pushed back, and Vrabel was ready to pull him apart. And there were media members that were at the practice that looked at that and said, oh, that's what leadership looks like from within. And Vrabel was saying, we're not going to tarnish the Buckeye image because you're coming in living off your 5 stars from high school.
So why don't the Buckeyes offer him whatever it takes then?
I don't know that they won't. I don't know that I did find it interesting that they've moved on from their president.
You got to see how she resigned.
No, she was forced out.
Yeah, I need to know about that.
Yeah, okay. So
you know?
I do.
Oh, we got to talk about. We'll talk about it.
We talked about it on the show yesterday. So it was a workplace investigation. There were some complaints about the workplace environment, and the board of trustees commissioned an investigation, and they didn't like the results, and they forced her to step
What they got to do? Put it in subtitles or something?
Yeah,
she was the roadblock. They didn't want her to be in no position to say nothing about this new hire.
They got somebody to say, yeah, it's uncomfortable work conditions.
Yeah, really? Come on, stop playing.
All right, true or false?